line myself up a little bit better here. All right. What's up, everybody? Kyle the Drink Pro here with you as always, checking my levels, checking how I look in the camera, and checking the comments. Bourbon Baller's here, 93 away, bro. I'll get you there. Appreciate it, my man. I am 93 subscribers away from 1,000. It will be an exciting time. Going to be doing a giveaway for sure once I get to 1,000. Actually, I got a lot of great giveaways this month for my patron members. If you are in the Patreon, you should keep an eye out because a lot of cool things are happening. If you're not yet in the Patreon, patreon.com/thedrinkpro gives you all kinds of cool access to bonus content that's only available there. I do make a lot more videos than I post here for public consumption on YouTube, so check them out. But there's also great opportunities to get your hands on free bottles, get your hands on free samples, and a lot of other cool stuff. So consider checking it out. I'll leave that up for a little bit, but I don't like those tickers up very long. Anyway, all right, Nate's going to be on in a minute. He's putting the kids to bed. Bourbon Baller's got a love-hate relationship with Old Scout, and that's understandable because I have a love-hate relationship with who Old Scout is sourcing their whiskey from. Mostly MGP. Some of their stuff is actually from Tennessee, so I know they're not exclusively sourcing from the MGP, but a lot of the stuff is being sourced from MGP. And actually, some of these brands are discontinued and have been for a while. Now, I have heard rumblings about new Old Scout picks coming back onto the market, and I've seen a couple of them. Matter of fact, I might open a couple of them during this stream if I'm feeling frisky. What's up, Mike McAllister? How you doing, my man? Bourbon Baller wants to know when he gets a wrench. When I have enough people that I need 3 wrenches, that's when you'll get a wrench. Yeah, I made Trevor the first wrench because he'd been with me from the start, but Nate's just too annoying to not be a wrench, so. Okay. Let's talk about Old Scout for a minute. Old Scout is the distillery that releases the Smooth Ambler. I'm sorry, I got this flipped. So, Smooth Ambler is the distillery that releases Old Scout, and they are, in fact, a distillery. They are in West Virginia, and they've been making it since 2009 they've existed. They started with sourced whiskey. They do make some of their own products, but they originally wanted to build a brand, and so they started sourcing things. I think Smooth Ambler does Big Level, they do Contradiction. I do believe that they have some of their own distillate on the market, but I'm not remembering which of those brands are their distillate and which ones are sourced. Yeah. So I think, okay, so the Contradiction is sourced, but I know that they make some of their own stuff. I'm just not sure which ones are their own stuff. Okay. Big Level is one of their brands. It's a wheated bourbon that is their own making. It's a 5-year-old spirit. 5-year-old spirit, that's pretty good. And I got to go back to this point. A lot of people that start distilleries, that start sourcing things, they do it on purpose with a specific brand, like the Old Scout brand, that is sourced whiskey, and they make no bones about it, so that they can afford to let their product sit and age for 5 years. 5 years in aging, that's enough to make a properly good wheated bourbon. So you source from somebody like MGP, so you can still sell some kind of whiskey, but also be able to age your product to a respectable age and not have to release 1-year-old, 18-month-old, 2-year-old whiskey that just isn't good. If it was good, if it's ready at 2 years, I've had some 2-year-old whiskey that was ready, that should be released and was in fact good. Not very common, but it can happen. But most of the time it won't. So usually people are feeling rushed to release for financial reasons, which is a huge problem. So sourcing is the answer to that. And like I've said before, there is a good way to source, there's a bad way to source. One of my favorite models, which I've talked about in the past, is OKI and New Riff. New Riff created a whole new brand after sourcing through OKI as a way to build up funding. Smooth Ambler is doing the same thing. The Old Scout brand is their MGP wing and their Dickel wing and some of the other sourced products that they've used. And now they have this Big Level brand with different labeling. Still says Smooth Ambler. That's their distillery. But it's the brand that is distinct enough that you know what it is and what it isn't. So I think that's really helpful. What's going on in the chat? Trevor's here. What's going on, Trevor? Mike McAllister says, that's the answer. Baller needs to be more annoying. Baller can't be as annoying as Nate. Yeah, that's a tall order. Mike's going to grab a drink in a few. All right. So I think I'm going to start off with a bottle that is not a single barrel. I've got a couple of single barrels here in front of me. I've got a couple of single barrels that I will probably open up in one of my shelves just off screen. But this is the first introduction that I actually had to... I'm going to turn this off. I don't want this ticker on. Join me, pay me, whatever. This is the first Smooth Ambler product that I ever tried. Dog is barking in the background. This is the Old Scout 107 American whiskey. So, you know from the fact that it's American whiskey, this is not a bourbon. It's the Cork Dorks pick. Now, this is a pick that I picked up in Midtown, Nashville. Yolanda is here, but she is unpresentable to the camera. What's up?
That is a good way to say that. Well, first thing, I am sorry if you guys hear any blow-dry sounds in the background. I will hopefully keep it short. Secondly, I need you guys to vote on strange/weird or classic school kid.
Did you guys hear all that? Strange/weird or classic school kid. Vote on one in the chat. Whichever one gets more, Yolanda will do something with. She's going to shut the door now so she can blow dry her hair. Bourbon Baller sipping on Rockstar right now. Mike McAllister has an Ohio pick of Old Scout that tastes like rust and smells foul. I've had many confirm my worst bottle ever. Oof, that's awful. Some Ohio picks are good and some are bad. Yeah, man, that's when you're that big of an entity that's doing picks, it can be really hit or miss. Wow. Well, anyway, this was the first Old Scout I ever tried. Like I said, this is Cork Dorks, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. Not barrel proof, 53.5%, 107 proof. It does not have an age statement on it. It says on the back, expertly blended from whiskeys distilled in Indiana and Tennessee, but it is labeled as a single barrel, and it's a pick, hand-selected by the Cork Dorks, so I don't actually know where this is from. I have to assume this is MGP, because I got a single barrel, but it has no age statement. It says blended from Indiana and Tennessee, but it doesn't taste like Dickel at all. So I'd be pretty shocked if there was any Dickel in this. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this. Keith Jones, what's up, Kyle? Drink Pro, what's going on, my brother? Keith actually provided me with one of the samples I'm going to be trying here in a bit. This is the Old Scout 5-year-old Mr. Whiskers Wine and Spirits 118.2.
What's the vote?
Nobody voted.
Alright, that's fine. I'll just pick one then. Actually,
I do think Old Scout is better than Cleveland, Trevor. I have to agree. Okay. So, like I said, now this is labeled American whiskey. So it's a little bit different. But I actually get a lot of fruit on this. I don't think this has any Dickel in it, but maybe it does. It's quite fruity. But that always, see, MGP always catches me because it's fruity on the nose, and then I taste it, and I'm like, where'd that fruit go? I like that fruit. I've never had any of the Cleveland whiskey stuff, so I can't actually speak to this little debate that's going on in the chat right now. Trev didn't hear the choices. I didn't really catch them either. Don't worry about it. They'll figure something out. But yeah, this is super... I wish I needed to have like a thing that'll hold this so you can see what I'm tasting, you know? I'm hoping to get a new house soon. It looks like I've frozen. That's not cool. Well, I hope you guys can hear me. It looks like I've unfrozen, but I froze there for a solid amount of time, so hopefully I'm back. Hopefully that was a fluke. I shouldn't have this much trouble when I'm paying for this kind of internet service, but, you know, it goes like that sometimes. This is nuttier than I remember it being. It's definitely sweet. It's got sort of like a artificial strawberry vibe on the nose. I don't remember the Cleveland at all, Trev. I'm back. That's good. Trev says he has 2 local picks and a bourbon enthusiast pick that were way better than his bottle of Cleveland. You may have just got a bad bottle of Cleveland. Uh-oh. I've got a gift bag here. Don't open it. It's got my name on it. Look at this. It's the first day of school.
It's your snack for later.
Okay, thank you. Bourbon Baller says YouTube sucks. We have platform issues. I'll say that. Okay. Yeah, very light strawberry. Very, very rich, sweet, very light caramel vibes. Not sharp at all. None of that lemoniness. None of the alcohol burn. Trev's going to bring Cleveland to the next meetup so I can try it. If everything goes well, Trev, it'll be at my new house. Oh, man. This glass. I've done something to this glass. Whoops. Yeah, Mike McAllister, Drink Pro, brings his lunch to the live streams now. This is new. People wanted to see me eat. I don't know why, but we're going to do some food pairings later. Yolanda has been picking out different things for me to snack on each week, and I'm going to pair them with different whiskeys, so that'll be fun. But this thing is very, like I said, it's got that nice fruitiness. Got a lot of things I like on it, and the nuttiness is more prominent than I thought it would be. Again, it's got this sort of, I would say peanut, like very sweet honey peanut. Maybe a touch of cinnamon as well. It's a really solid nose. Like, I bought this one as a total gamble. It was like $50, and I said, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. And I was happy I did. I wish I had gone back and drank some more. Bought some more. Keep drinking more. Baller's got some old Ezra 7. Good choice. Bathtub Malort pair. Mike McAllister in the chat. Bathtub Malort paired with Twizzlers. That's the winner. That sounds horrible. But now I kind of want to drink Malort through a Twizzler. Now, for something that's 53.5% alcohol, this is super light and easy drinking. It's definitely MGP on the palate. It's a little bit nuttier than a lot of MGP tends to be. I hope this dog doesn't need to be walked, because I can't walk her on the middle of a stream. You know what we're going to do? We're going to call Yolanda, who just left the house, live on this stream, and find out if she walked the dog. Because if she didn't, then we're going to have to figure something out.
Hello?
Hi, did you walk the dog?
No, it's pouring down.
Well, okay, but I'm not going to be able to walk her while I'm on this stream, so...
To go anyway.
Huh?
She's not going to go anyway because it's pouring down rain. So
Well.
even if I have taken her, she won't go.
Okay. Love you, bye.
Love you too. I'm sure this is great content.
Oh yeah, this is great content. Bye. You heard it here first. It's pouring down rain. Dog's not going to pee. Hopefully she won't pee on our carpet. Mike says he's in rare form tonight. But yeah, based on the palate, this is just like classic MGP, which for me means a little bit disappointing up front. It's sweet, but not particularly interesting. A very nutty mid-palate on this, which I like a lot. I get cashews, a little bit of peanut, and a little bit of walnut. It's nuttier than most for me, MGP. And then the finish, pretty oaky, a little bit of black pepper. And that's about it. This week this month is designed to be sort of me going through all this different source product, but I'm not going to totally rely on MGP because I know it's going to get repetitive. I'm going to keep giving those same notes over and over and over again, so these aren't all going to be MGP pours. Some of these will actually be me trying to figure out if pours are from MGP or not, which will be fun. But also, I want to talk about some source products that people might not love. Dickel is a good example, but there's also some other small distilleries out there that are doing source products, and there are people that are doing sort of built to sell distilling. Contract distilling is what we call it. And that is a sourcing process, but it's a lot more involved. It's people, I believe that New Riff does contract distilling. I also believe that Bardstown Bourbon Company does contract distilling. They have big distill set up, they have big processes set up, and they will make a distillate based on the mash bill you want, based on the process you want, give you a lot of control over things, and then sell you the distillate and let you do with it what you will. Bourbon Baller says he's tried over 20 store picks of Old Scout. It's a drinkable bourbon, but not complex at all. I mean, that's pretty in line with my feeling on it right now. What is she doing? This is making me nervous. This dog is going to pee on the floor. I'm going to grab her and put her in my chair just so this doesn't happen. I would rather her pee on my leather chair than on the carpet. Come here! Come here! Squirt! Come here, girl! I'll leave my lunch here so it's not in the chair. Come here! Okay. I know this is riveting content, but sometimes you just have to do things to avoid a dog peeing on the floor. Oh yeah, you're gonna get all that good crunchy box ASMR. Trevor said Oreo's pee might taste better than Mike's Ohio Old Scout pick. Trev says sometimes you don't need a bourbon that is complex. It can be good and not complex at all, what you're looking for. That's true. That's a good point, Trevor. I think a lot of people value complexity, and I understand why people do that. But that's a good point, Trevor, that sometimes you just want a simple drinker. Now, usually if I want a simple drinker, I want it to be sweet up front. That's the simplicity I'm looking for, which is not what you get from MGP. But for a lot of people, that might be a good thing. They might not want that sugary sweetness up front. They might want it to be more subtle and have a little bit of nuttiness and oakiness. It's still not complex, but maybe that's more of the simplicity that people are looking for. Mike McAllister got 1,000 followers on TikTok in 3 days and has been asked not to record anymore. Bourbon Baller likes bourbons that make him think. I feel that. Keith says King's family out of Tennessee sources from MGP. There you go. MGP is a very common place to source from. Yeah, 1,000 followers on TikTok and you were asked not to record. I'd love to know who asked you not to record. I think I know. But I'm sure you can figure something out. I like bourbons that make me think too, Bourbon Baller. There's only a few that I keep around pretty regularly that are not complex that I really enjoy. Not complex. Honestly, one of them is JTS Brown. Like, JTS Brown's the best $10 bourbon. Hands down for me. Alright, let's... while I'm thinking about this, while we're early in the stream, I'm going to grab the bottles that I've gotten here because I forgot I had some. And I'm probably going to open them during this stream. So, I don't usually buy store picks, ironically. And part of the reason is store picks require you to trust the person that's picking them. And I don't usually trust the people that are picking them. Now, these are both, they're both Old Scout bourbon picks, both 5 years old, and they're both from the Rural Inn here in Indianapolis. And the Rural Inn has one of the best policies I think of in bourbon, which is when they do store picks, they open a few bottles and they let people try them that walk in. So I've tried many whiskeys at the Rural Inn. If I don't like them, I don't buy them. And if I do like them, I do buy them. And I rarely walk out of that store without a bottle of whiskey in my hand. And that's why, because they let you taste stuff. They let you learn if you like it or not. I think that is a great policy. I understand why a lot of stores can't do it. I really do. Sometimes for legal reasons, sometimes because it's expensive, sometimes because they're in an area where sketchy bullshit would happen, and so they won't be able to actually, make their money back. I've seen all kinds of nonsense happen. But places that can do it, I strongly recommend you let people taste your store picks. You can trust somebody till the end of the earth, but if your palates aren't perfectly in sync, you don't know if you're going to like their stuff or not. You just won't. And it's a day-to-day thing. Your palate changes all the time. So I may like something you'd pick on a Monday, but what you pick on a Wednesday, I don't care for. Anywho, I'm going to come to those at the end of today. And mostly that's because I've got a 11-year store pick that I want to do before I get to the three 5-year-old store picks that I've got. One is from Keith Jones in the chat. Big shout out to Keith. And the other two are the ones I picked up from the Rural Inn. So we'll put aside the Old Scout for a moment. The 107, I should say. And let's move here to this Old Scout Rye from Ace Spirits. Now, before this video, I had intended to do research and look it up and figure out where this bottle came from, and I didn't do any of that. Now, but what I do know is that I got this bottle from Tab25, one of my friendly anonymous donors, and when I visited Tab25, I took photos of a bunch of the things that we drank together. So if I scroll on my phone, I might just be able to find that visit. I should have tagged this stuff, but, not always the best at doing that. And I should be able to find, here we go, all the things that we tried, because we tried some wonderful whiskeys. And hopefully I took a picture of this. Right now I'm not seeing it, though, which is making me sad. Yeah, I don't think I took a picture of this bottle, which was a mistake. Oh, no, here we go. I took a not helpful picture of this bottle. Oh, here we go. No, I got it. All right. Can you guys see that? You can. It's just a little blurry. Come on, focus. There we go. Bottle exclusively for Ace Spirits. This is the 8-year-old rye. 60.7% alcohol. That's pretty good. The dog is squeaking a lot. What's wrong? What's wrong? You're okay. Did you go potty? Did you go outside? No? Okay. You just missed Mama. That's fine. Anyway. I've also got a photo of the barrel number, but it's super blurry. 1367 for what that's worth. And I can't see a disclosure on the bottle of where it's from, where it's sourced. I have to assume it's MGP, though, because rye is, super, super popular from MGP, the MGP ryes in particular. Why are you being so squeaky? I'll bring you over here right next to me. Maybe that'll help stop it. Hopefully it's not a bathroom thing, because I don't know how we're going to keep doing this if I got to take her outside. I think it might be a bathroom thing. See what's going on here. Bourbon Baller says that's a low dollar baller, the JTS. No joke, that is a low dollar baller. Mike McAllister's going to tell me about it this weekend. He'll give me a holler. Trev said he poured the Kirkland small batch. It isn't complex or mind-blowing, but he likes it. Bourbon Baller disagreed. He thought it was a drain pour, expected more from 1792. But palates are different. That's definitely true. Keith Jones is rocking out with some tasty pours. What's wrong? I don't know what I'm going to do about her. Oh, I may just have to run her outside. We may just have to deal with it, guys. We'll see. What else is going on here in the chat? Trevor likes the store to let you try picks. Hola, what's up, Nick Hopkins? He's in the chat. Nate Cooper's in the chat again. Keith Jones is laughing at my dog problem. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to pour out some of this rye, and I'm going to let it breathe for just a minute, and then I'm going to walk the dog. Y'all are just going to have to stay occupied. If somebody in the chat can let people know that I'll be right back. I mean, wait a minute. Can I, like, put up a sign or something that says BRB? Can I, It's like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is fucking ridiculous. Okay. Alright, here we go. Here we go. I got a plan, guys. I got a plan. Oh, it's just a little too low. Son of a bitch. There you go. I'll be right back. We're gonna walk the dog. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, good news is that is the most cooperative that dog has ever been with going to the bathroom for me. So, we will take it. We are very happy with that. I also was able to get her fed. And, it's good shape. Good stuff. I love what's going on in the chat over here. Kyle will be returning after these messages. Nick Hopkins, the drink MacGyver over here. The commercial break is sponsored by Mike is in rare form tonight. Mike McAllister is really crushing it. This break is sponsored by MGP, where we make your whiskey for you. That's funny. Bourbon Baller likes the Port Finish 1792, which a lot of people have never tried. I've heard nothing but good things about. Mike McAllister says, also sponsored by DoorDash because you know he's got to order soon. This program is brought to you by Dove Soap and Cardboard. We all know Kyle loves his soapboxes. I love you guys. You guys are fucking crazy. Oh, man. Yeah, Sweet Wheat was not my favorite. Joe Brown's in the chat. What's up, Joe? Someone should buy me DoorDash. I wouldn't be mad about it. I wouldn't be mad if somebody bought me DoorDash. I'm allergic to mushrooms. That's the only restriction. Oh, and shellfish. I should say that. Shellfish and mushrooms. Everything else, go for it. I think Trev just wants to watch me eat. He just wants to watch me eat more. Alright. Let's put this bed on the floor so I can put my keyboard onto the chair. And let's drink some of this rye. Did I say it? Yeah, shout out Tab25. Appreciate you for this rye. Ooh, is this the right one? This is incredibly fruity. Wow. I mean, this thing is like Raspberry City. Gotta give your address over the internet, though. That's a very good point, Nate. I mean, I'm not going to be living here much longer anyway, so it's kind of like... whatever, you know? I mean... I'm going to be out of here in hopefully 2 months. Okay. That first sip really gave me a lot of false hope. Or, not sip, the first nosing gave me a lot of false hope. It was super duper fruity. Now it's becoming a lot more of a classic MGP rye. It's a little bit, very herbal, a little bit grainy. Even at 8 years. I mean, this is not a young whiskey. But it's high proof. It's 8 years old. A spirits. It's not a drink pro stream without me eating. It does seem to work that way, doesn't it? I mean, the nose on this is lovely. I'm just not sure I'm going to like it because I'm not the biggest MGP rye fan. I'm not the biggest rye fan in general, but MGP rye typically has some weird, funky notes that I don't care for. But this is an older bottling. I probably haven't tried this particular version of the 8-year rye, so let's taste it. Cheers. Now, to me, this is a super classic MGP rye. It's just oakier. It's more robust because it's older, a little bit more complex. But that herbal rye grain in the mid palate and that slight mintiness, I get mintiness on the finish, like peppermint on the finish. Yep. Herbal, minty. This is sweeter than most. This has almost like a Ooh, I got a real, like cardboard sawdust kind of vibe, mid-palate in the finish. Yeah, that's that dill. Yeah, the dill note is coming through in the mid-palate into the finish, which for me tastes like cardboard and sawdust. I'm not sure why, but it is that dill note. Yeah. I think it's important to remember, like, when you talk about the herbal quality in a whiskey, a lot of times people just mean bitter. This one definitely has some bitterness, but specifically, it's got a real dill weed vibe. It tastes like dill. If you've had dill pickles, you know generally the flavor. But get some regular herbal dill if you want to try it and see what I'm talking about. I'm going to let the dog in. Not in the house, into this gate. We've got a puppy gate between my bourbon room and the rest of the house because she's not allowed in here otherwise. Keith says he almost bought a bottle of their rye at Buster's the last time I was there. I mean, if you like an MGP rye, it'll probably do you just fine. This just really isn't... I'm not a big MGP rye person. But I'm glad I'm trying it. I don't know if you can hear this dog, but she is squeaking like crazy. Mama's not here. She's not happy. She's super needy. Just old lady set in her ways. You know, I said I didn't like this, but I finished the glass and I'm pouring myself some more, so maybe I'm lying to myself. The dill note is a turnoff for me. I don't like the dill, but there's a lot more going on in this. This is a notably more complex pour than any of the Old Scout I've tried thus far. This is, which I think is only one. Whoops. But there's a lot more going on in this. Maybe just because it's a rye, but like, you know, I taste it. It's pretty flat up front. All MGP is like that. A little bit sweet, a little bit flat. Mid palate, definitely get some oakiness, an herbal quality. That dill shows up, a little bit bitter. And the black pepper kind of evolves into the finish on this. It's pretty high proof too. You know, it's over 60% alcohol. I don't know. I think on the whole, I would still rank that as just okay. It's not really my jam. Transient Trailblazer, is J.W. Kelly MGP also? No. J.W. Kelly is making their own distillate. And particularly the one that I really liked. The standout MGP, or the standout J.W. Kelly. Let me just grab that bottle real quick. I've got it like 30 feet from here. So, the J.W. Kelly... Oh, wait a minute. J.W. Kelly might be sourced. But it's not MGP. I'd have to... You know what? I'd have to... Tab 25, what's going on, man? Are you including ryes too? I actually just did the rye. I'll actually take another sip of it since I see you in the chat now. But yeah, I am doing ryes too. And you gave me a rye a long time ago. It's in fact the only rye in the lineup, which is why I tried it first. But the J.W. Kelly, this is the Golden Age straight rye. I think it's only like 2 years old. It doesn't have hardly any info on the bottle, but it's pretty cheap, $30. 65% rye, 20% malted barley, 15% malted rye. So it's got a lot of malting. This is great stuff, and it says it's bottled by Quest Brands in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I think this is sourced, but it is not at MGP, which maybe is why I like it as much as I did. All right, what else we got? Fred posted something about Heist. I didn't watch the video. Here are his thoughts. The dog is cussing me out. Yeah, that dog really is not happy with me right now. She misses her mama really bad. Yeah, if you haven't liked, haven't subscribed, help me out. Let's drink this rye once more for Tab 25, only because you joined the stream, Tab 25. Cheers, brother. Hey, we got to get together soon. The craziness that I have been experiencing is starting to slow down a little bit, so let's talk about something next week, eh? So, yeah, on the nose, the fruitiness that I got initially has gone away. It's become a lot more of a classic rye. Definitely still has some of that raspberry sweetness. I seem to get that a lot on MGP, some sort of sweet fruit. I'm starting to get a little bit more of like a citrus grain quality. Which, you know, this is an 8-year-old rye, so I'm a little surprised by that. Let's taste it again. Yeah, I get a lot of herbal and almost an oakiness up front. Like, there's like a dark chocolate, slight bitterness up front into the mid palate. There's very little sweetness up front in the like super sweet Buffalo Trace style bourbon profile. It just doesn't exist. A lot of the MGP stuff is very flat up front. This one is flat, but it's not as flat as most because of that dark chocolate component and the grain shows up. Yeah, and then over time, You get that herbalness. The dill shows up in the mid palate, but because I've started to see that dark chocolate more and more, the dill kind of takes a back seat, and you get this oaky, earthy, slightly bitter, but not overly so flavor that kind of goes throughout. You almost get this like dry chalkiness, though, on the finish. The dark chocolate becomes really drying. It's partly because it's such high proof. It's over 60% alcohol. It's going to dry your mouth out, but it's an interesting pour. Not my favorite. I'm not a big MGP rye person, just generally, but I do think it's better than most MGP ryes that I've had, so take that for what it's worth. Now let's move to this is the 11-year-old. So I've got 3 different picks that are all 5-year-old Old Scout. These are from the new batch. They discontinued the Old Scout for a long time. Smooth Ambler said, there was this big bourbon boom. They weren't able to get the same quality stuff they wanted from MGP, so they discontinued the Old Scout brand for several years. I'm trying to think when they discontinued it. I think it must have been, I don't know, maybe like 2015? Yeah, I just found it. Yeah, 2015, they were making Old Scout 7-year and 10-year, and they suspended it indefinitely. Well, they brought it back. And they brought it back with 5-year-old Old Scout. Which 5-year-olds are respectable pour. There's a lot of 5-year-old MGP floating around out there right now. But let's dig into this. This sample, I've had this for a long time. This is a sample from Cody Bishop. I won a bottle off of him, and he just gave me this for free as a bonus pour. And it was very generous of him. Very nice of him to just give me this for. I didn't ask for it. He didn't tell me what he was going to do. He just brought it as a gift, along with a bottle of whiskey that I got off of him. So shout out to Cody. I don't know if Cody watches the show, but shout out to Cody Bishop. Thank you, my man. I've had this for a while, so it's very well sealed, though. I mean, he sealed this like he was shipping it, which I appreciate, because I've received some shipped pours that were less cared for than this. This wouldn't have spilled if I had thrown it at a wall. So 11 years, 55.2% alcohol. Again, thank you, Cody Bishop, for the sample. Hey guys, Drink Pro glasses. These are still for sale at thedrinkpro@gmail.com. By the way, thedrinkpro.com is up right now. My store, thedrinkpro.com, is up. It just is very bare bones. We're working on getting more information up there. I'm going to talk with Yolanda. We're going to get that thing up and running again. Let's hope it works out. Bourbon Baller gave his Old Scout to his neighbors who don't know bourbon. They mix it with Sprite. Hey, man, drink it how you like it. I think the newer 5-year stuff is perfectly acceptable with a Sprite. It's $50. If it's $50 or less, I don't hate at all if somebody wants to mix it. Okay. There wasn't really anything left to taste in there. But this is notably darker. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Notably darker. Ooh, and now that right there, that is how I want it to smell. See, this is the thing. They discontinued the Old Scout brand because they weren't getting the same quality whiskey. And I gotta tell you, that 107 can't hold a candle to this on the nose. This thing is super dense and sweet and creamy. I get blueberry. I get vanilla cream icing. This is just gorgeous. This is gorgeous. I get lemon zest and orange peel. Oh, man, this is just... Yes, this is the 11-year Bourbon Baller. I have not had any Dickel picks of Old Scout, Trev. All right, the more it's opening up, it's still very dense. But I'm starting to get this really, like, sweet oak. It's pretty hot on the nose. This is hotter on the nose than that 60% rye was, and this is 55.2. The nose can absolutely be deceiving, Bourbon Baller. As a matter of fact, MGP noses, for me, are often deceiving. They rarely smell and taste the same. This nose, I get like a caramel corn, like a It's like a molasses. A lot going on this nose. A whole lot. Some black pepper. Wow. I mean, this is really something unique. This is different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. I'm not going to get a copyright strike. That's inside baseball right there. YouTube gave me a bunch of copyright strikes because I was playing music before when I had to do interludes, like go to the bathroom or run to walk the dog or whatever. So I cut that stuff out. Gotta make Daddy YouTube happy. How else am I gonna get to 1,000 subscribers without your help? Need your help. Do it. Do it. Subscribe. Do it. I mean, it's a beautiful nose. Let's go ahead and taste it. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Absolutely, this is not complex. It's got a nice, peppery, creamy caramel finish. Longer than most of the MGP. It's sweet up front. It's pretty quiet. This is not a complex pour, but damn it, this is good. This is good. This is what you want MGP to taste like. Interestingly, it's a little bit bitter up front. It's got like lemon peel vibes. Very quiet mid-palate. A little bit nutty, a little bit sweet. But the finish on this is just gorgeous. This is just a gorgeous finish. And I talked about this before. People who like a good finish are going to like more MGP stuff. But this is something that's so gorgeous, I think a lot of people would like it. This is something that will stand out for most bourbon drinkers, I would argue, as a phenomenal finish. Yeah, they're talking about the Russell's Reserve 13 year. I have tried it. It is freaking amazing. I tried to get a friend to sell it to me. He would not. Bourbon Baller says he's got 3 bottles on order for August. I hope it's good for the price. I mean, I sure think it is. I really enjoyed it. If they don't sell when I'm in there in September, you let me know, brother. Oh, the nose on, I mean, the nose on this is better than the palate, but it's so good, I can't stop smelling it. And the palate isn't flat compared to some of these others that are incredibly flat. It's, you know what it is? It doesn't have peaks and valleys. Here's the thing. So some of these earlier whiskeys that I've tried were flat, specifically my Old Scout, my pick that I brought in, the first one we tried. It's flat, and a lot of MGP for me is flat. It doesn't have a lot of peaks and valleys, but there's also no depth in the middle. It's just tinny and flat and not a lot of variation. This, it doesn't have big peaks and valleys, but it's got a lot of depth. So there's a lot of sound happening, even if it doesn't get really loud and really quiet. It's sort of like, and this is a weird analogy, but like if you've ever listened to like classical music on speakers, where it's just sort of this phenomenal presentation and it gets really loud and it gets really quiet, and all of that range of sound, range of volume is incorporated into a presentation, and it just becomes beautiful. That is a really unique way to listen to music. It's a very profound way to listen to music. Most pop music is not mixed that way. It's mixed to be the same volume throughout, or damn near. It's condensed all the shit, they compress it all to shit, and so you get one uniform sound level. And they use techniques to make things sound bigger or smaller, to make this wall of sound become more vibrant or less vibrant based on what the music needs, but the volume doesn't really change. That's not true with most classical music mixes. That's what I'm getting here. This is pop music. This is mixed to be pop music. So the aficionado, Bourbon Baller, was talking about liking that complexity. That's like a music lover who's really looking for that purity, that perfection of like a beautiful classical ensemble, showing you the way that it interacts with the listener's experience. This is candy. This is pop. This is a very, very good version of something that's meant to be mass appeal. That's my soapbox for the night. Okay. Yeah, there's so much more. It's so much more oily. The mouthfeel on this is meaningfully different. It's sweet. It's creamy. The creamy is the word of the day on this one. This is super creamy. Lots of caramel sweetness in the mid palate and in the finish, interestingly. It lingers for a long time. A little bit of black pepper on the tongue. I mean, I think this is beautiful. I mean, let me pull out my tasting wheel because, you know, I don't want to just sit here and say the same notes over and over again, but it's just really hitting something well. And you can see this tasting wheel is taking a beating. It's in pretty rough shape. Maybe you can't tell, but there you go. You can tell better there. I use the tasting wheel a lot. I've gotten some shit from it before. People are like, you're supposed to be a pro. Shouldn't you know this stuff? Sometimes it's helpful. I'm just going to go by taste. I'm not going to talk about the nose anymore, though. I really underplayed the butterscotch at the start of the palate. That's always a hard one for me to like point at and identify. That's what it is here. It's super creamy and it's butterscotchy. It's like butterscotch pie at the beginning. You definitely get this minty herbal mid palate. It's subtle, but it has a little bit of tingle like mint. And a little bit of like black pepper tingle as well. It doesn't have the mint flavor, so I would say more peppermint than spearmint. Spearmint for me is usually sweet, minty flavor. Peppermint is the minty burn. It's got the minty burn and it's subtle, paired with this black pepper. Yeah, the Char Barrel Master's Keep is an exciting prospect, Bourbon Baller. I totally agree. This pour would be up your alley, Trev. Although I don't think, I mean, it's not as oaky as I think you tend to like it. It's the creaminess you'd love, though. Yeah, mid palate, definitely getting like cedar wood. Yeah, I think cedar wood really stands out. There is a slight nuttiness to it, but that's pretty subtle. It's mostly a cedar wood. And then into the mid palate you get, into the finish from the mid palate, the black pepper definitely shows up more. Ooh, I just got like a hint of green apple on the front. Just a hint. It's subtle. There's not much fruit in these on the palate. There's a ton on the nose, but very little in the palate. I got a hint of green apple. Maybe just the slightest bit of lemon, like the meaty part of the lemon in the mid palate. But overall, it's pretty subtle. We'll just kill this. That's fine. I don't have any water in here. See, usually I can call on Yolanda to come help me out with the dog or with the water, but she's with her sister getting dinner, so here we are. But that's pretty good. Pretty good. Start talking to your liquor store people at Drop soon. I have not been maintaining good contact with my liquor store people, in large part because I'm trying to buy a house, so haven't been buying any new bottles for the last month or so, maybe 6 weeks, but I'm going to be getting back into it. Oh, man. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the 3 different pours of 5-year-old Old Scout. Now, one of them is Keith Jones. Big shout out to Keith. Mr. Whiskers Wine and Spirit. Now, I've been to Mr. Whiskers. I thought I had a bottle of something from them sitting out, but I don't see it. Oh, well, this. I picked this up at Mr. Whiskers. They had a lot of good barrel picks. I think I picked up a Four Roses barrel pick as well from Mr. Whiskers. They do a lot of good barrel picks. One of the more well-known barrel picking places in Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to trying their Old Scout pick. And then I'm going to bust open. I don't like usually opening new bottles, but I'm going to do it for you guys today. The only reason I don't like usually opening new bottles is because they have so many fucking open bottles right now. But I bought these as drinkers. Let's fucking drink them. So we're going to break them open. So first, shout out to Keith Jones. Here we go. Our Old Scout 5-year Mr. Whiskers. And I'm going to line these all up side by side by side. Mr. Whiskers. Next pour is going to be Barrel 1. Barrel 1 from Rural Inn. Like the way these open. They open nice and easy. Okay. Very nice, very nice. And finally, now Barrel 1 is 57.6% alcohol. The Old Scout is 118.2 proof. So that's what? 56.1? So 56.1, 57.6, and this is 56.9. So they're all within a proof, 1.5% of each other. Here we go. Neck pours beware, says Bourbon Baller. Well, we're going to let them breathe for a little bit. But, you know, that's a fair point. I mean, the neck pours can be very different because bourbon does need to breathe. Mr. Whiskers from Nashville. That's the one, Keith. That is the one. I'm just going to nose them right away. Ooh. Wow. Those smell very different. I got spoiled smelling that 11 year. Now, does it say where this is being... Okay, this says distilled in Indiana. So this is definitely MGP. Yeah. Both of these say distilled in Indiana. I may have to revisit that Old Scout 107 that I've got that says it could be a blend, but it's a single barrel, so that doesn't make any sense. But these smell meaningfully different. They smell very corn forward. Which, you know, moving from that lovely 11-year pick to a 5-year pick, that would make sense. Corn forward would make sense. Oh, boy. It is the Four Roses. Yeah, Nate. I got a couple of Four Roses single barrels from Mr. Whiskers. Speaking of which, that Four Roses single barrel was something that I gave to people in the Patreon. If you were in my Patreon and you were at a certain level, you had access to the single barrels I was picking up in Nashville. Put that away. There we go. Paint Doctor says, Drink Pro, you're the best. What's up, Paint Doctor? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate the support. My man. Or woman. I don't know who Paint Doctor is. Appreciate you. I appreciate people that I don't know. I might know you in real life. I probably do know you from somewhere. But I don't know that handle very well. But thank you for being here. I'm going to stop. Okay, let's go ahead and smell the pour from Mr. Keith Jones, the Mr. Whiskers. Okay, here we go. Yep, this is the Mr. Whiskers. I really like this. Okay. I agree with Bourbon Baller on which Patreon level is where it's at. Actually, I must say I agree with Trevor, who says the higher tier is better. Higher is always better. That's right, Trevor. That's right, brother. Matter of fact, if somebody really wants to go crazy, go to the master tier, and I will fly out to see you every quarter. That's a real thing. It's a ridiculous benefit. I can't believe that's on there. I'm supposed to be giving notes on this. I'm having a hard time with this, though. I think part of it's because I just came off of that 11 year. And I mean, this is... The dog... Stop being... Why are you so squeaky? There, I'm going to cover you with a blanket. Stop squeaking. I mean, this thing smells super weird compared to that 11 year. It's got a real, like, there's something very familiar to it that I can't quite place that I don't particularly like. It's like, well, shit. This is getting tricky. Let me smell a different one. Whoa, that's super weird. Okay. These are gonna be really weird. I mean, this smells like fresh cut oak. Pears. And, like, it's got a little bit of that, like, new make distillate smell. That corn mash smell. Like uncooked cornbread. I've never heard of it either, Nick. I don't pay that much attention to San Francisco, to be honest with you. It kind of feels like they just kind of take turns on who wins things. Don't tell him I said that. I can't believe Mike hasn't had a rare any Wild Turkey product that he liked. I mean, if the funk doesn't hit you right, the funk's not going to hit you right. And all that Wild Turkey stuff has some of the funk. Some of it has more of the funk than others. Man, this is just a weird one. Keith, you sent me a weird one, brother. Oh, there we go. Marshmallow fluff. Starting to get almost like fluffernutter qualities. Which, if you never had it, peanut butter and marshmallow fluff sandwich. Alright, let's taste this nonsense. Wow. It's amazing how much that just tastes like corn liquor. Like that, it's so much lighter than that 11 year that it almost tastes like moonshine or like new make, white lightning. It's got such a, but it's really mellow. It's not sharp at all. It's not harsh at all. And especially for something at that proof point, that's impressive. But it's got the flavor of like corn mash. It really does. And it smells like it too. It smells like a cornfield. All right, let's taste it again. Yep. Grain, citrus up front, a little bit sweet. Pretty good sweetness, actually. Pretty good, like, light corn syrup. Very, very slight caramel. Mid-palate gives me that weird corn mash flavor. Finish is nice and peppery. Get a lot of black pepper. A little bit of, like a serrano pepper. Black pepper for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things going on in that. It's very rare. I'll say this. It's very rare for me to have a whiskey that tastes at all like new make that I actually enjoy. But this has a lot of new makey qualities, but has so much else going on that I like that I'm not bothered by the new make-esqueness, which perhaps is why Smooth Ambler decided to start making Old Scout again, because they had felt like the quality when they canceled their 7 and 10 years because they couldn't get them anymore. They felt like the quality of the lower stuff wasn't up to snuff, so they wanted to quit making it. But this is... I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the 11 year is far superior. Far superior. But this is not poor quality. This is just good quality 5-year-old whiskey. So, I don't have a problem with that. That's right. I agree with Bourbon Baller. Some bourbons just don't work for everyone. If you don't like Wild Turkey, sell it to me, my brother. Yeah, Trevor can't get into the beam stuff. Same kind of thing. Yeah, it is a little bit surprising, Nick, that something from Dayton won an award. They're not known for their distilling culture over there. Yeah, let's, okay. Let's get into these rural imports. Oh, something weird is happening with these. One more than two. Thunder. My air conditioner is pointing right at me, so I'm going to warm this up a little bit. And that's a good recommendation. If you're used to drinking things at room temperature, get them back to room temperature, because when they cool off, a lot of the notes on the nose and on the palate become weakened. And so you need things at room temperature compared to other room temperature things to get an objective comparison, or as close to objective as you can get. Just get all your variables at the same place. Yeah, this is super... this almost smells like a Beam product. Speaking of Beam, this is super, super peanutty. I get a lot of oak, a lot of peanut, a lot of honey. I mean, it says it's distilled in Indiana, but if somebody told me this was Jim Beam, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Not for a second. I'm still getting a little bit of that like corn mash vibe on the nose. Mike McAllister didn't like the Master's Keep. I'm a really big fan of the Master's Keep. Nate's just defending the Nate's just defending the Ohio. Bourbon Baller says his liquor storage is set at 62 degrees perfect. 62 degrees is good for storage. If I was Bourbon Baller, I would take it out and get it to like 66, 67, 68 to drink it. But I think 62 is perfect for storage because you don't want it chilled, but you want it cool. Cool, dark, dry. That's your, if you want to store bourbon for a long period of time in an open bottle, cool, dark, dry. 62 is perfect, but I prefer to drink my whiskey more like 66, 68. Not that I've ever measured, to be honest, but that's just my guess. I want it slightly cooler than the temperature in the room, which is usually, for me, 72. This has such a unique funk to it. That nutty funk is not something I associate... Oh! This is not something I associate with MGP. Woof. Lots of oak on this, too. I'm a little surprised I bought this. I must have bought this because of the taste, because the nose is not my jam. Weird nutty funk. And not nutty like Booker's. It's almost like sour corn mixed with peanuts. Not my jam. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna look at the fucking bourbon wheel again. I don't want to do this, but I need to give you guys some notes. I can say Decades was disappointing in my opinion. I was not disappointed with Decades. If you don't like Decades, Bourbon Baller, I will happily buy Decades off of you. For retail, of course. All right. I get some vanilla. Definitely get some caramel, but it's subtle. Nate's gonna get up on his fucking soapbox to talk about the Decades. Wasn't my favorite one. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite one in the lineup. We have a video on that. Nate should throw that video into the chat so people can watch him and I drink a bunch of Wild Turkey Master's Keep. That's what Nate should do. Oh, there's just some sort of weird sour funk. It really is like that corn grain is really prominent. The chat, I love what's happening in the chat right now. Y'all are wilding out, and I love it. Dog's making crazy noises. It's a good night. It's a good night. This thing, I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one, boys. You know what? I always say boys. There you go. Nate's posted in the chat video with him and I drinking a bunch of different Wild Turkey Master's Keep. If there are any ladies that are watching tonight, if you are a lady and you are out there, throw your name in the chat. Say like, hey, what's up? Ladies' night, whatever. I appreciate you. I appreciate the women of bourbon. You are unfortunately wildly underrepresented. Because I know there's a lot of women out there drinking whiskey. But they don't get enough love on Whiskey Tube. So, shout out to the ladies. Cheers to you. It's hard out there. Trevor says, Middle West Spirits Pumpernickel Rye. You hear it's phenomenal. I've not had Pumpernickel Rye. Although, now that you say that, this nose definitely gives me like some sort of like pumpernickel bread. Trevor says, we are the big time channels. We don't time people out unless it's really bad. That's true. That's true. I actually like a lot of feather ruffling in my chat. I don't want hate speech, and I don't want personal attacks. But Trevor's totally right. Like, a lot of the big time channels, they'll block people out for things that I think are mundane. Like, don't get mean. Don't be an asshole. But, like, yeah, exactly. Nate just pointed out, yeah, don't be an ass or hit on Yolanda or me. You can hit on me a little bit, but don't hit on Yolanda. And you'll be fine. That's a good point. But a little friendly ribbing is perfectly acceptable. Bourbon Baller hitting a nerve is perfectly acceptable. And Nate knows that if he shadow banned you or some bullshit because of that, I would be on his ass. Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of agree with Bourbon Baller. Willet is not my favorite, but it's good. There are some good Willets, but they're not great. The only great... I've had a handful of great Willets. Pretty rare. I mean, and it's personal preference. You know, some Willet things are... I'll say this. The things I really like from Willet are not things that Willet distilled. They're sourced. Okay, let's go ahead and taste this thing. Yep, that's why I bought it. This goes back to the principle of what makes good MGP. It's simple, but it hits the right notes. This, for me, up front, very lightly sweet, a light corn syrup. The mid palate on this is super caramel creamy. Yeah, I love the mid palate on this. This is a beautiful mid palate. Super caramel creamy. It's light, it's sweet. The finish, it's nice and oaky. It's got a little bit of pepper, but it's not bitter at all. This is solid. I remember now why I bought this for $50. It was worth it. She's already been fed.
Oh, thank you.
Nate is asking why I point him out. I don't give anyone shit ever. Well, I know that's not true, Nate, but
I give me shit constantly.
Yolanda from the other room is saying that she gets shit from you constantly. But Nate, you're also fun to point out because I know you can take it. You roast the ones you love. Trevor C doesn't care for a lot of the Willet stuff. The lower end stuff I hate. I gotta say, I feel the same way. And everybody likes, a lot of people like the BT stuff. They are gouging the crap out of us. I agree, Bourbon Baller, the high age statement Willet stuff is pretty solid. It's not BT's gouging, Trevor. It is the gouging from the secondary market, typically. Yeah. Well, Bourbon Baller doesn't chase BT, but a lot of people do. Okay, so yeah, going back to the old scout from Mr. Whiskers, I think is something that I generally have noticed from the Mr. Whiskers picks, is they're a little bit oakier than I tend to prefer, which is ironic because Rural Inn is typically very oaky for my palate as well, and not something I prefer. But their Barrel 1 is not like that at all. And maybe it's because of where the oak shows up. For me, the oak in the Mr. Whiskers is on the finish, and it's prominent, so it lingers with you. But for me, the oak in the Rural Barrel 1 is in the mid palate. And then it goes away, and it becomes... Wait, did I say that backwards? Yeah, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. The Mr. Whiskers in the mid... No. Wait, what? All right. God damn it. Y'all are getting too salty in the chat. Chill out. Okay. Nate acting like he's low class in the bourbon world is a really funny joke. Ooh. Okay. So the Mr. Whiskers almost has like a, not minty, but, it's baking spice. It's like herbal and cinnamon. But this Barrel 1, yeah, the Barrel 1 has that sweet caramel in the mid palate, and the oakiness. Okay, the oak on both of them is at the finish, but the oak on the Barrel 1 from Rural Inn, it's not dry. It's sort of like it's a weird like passing in the night kind of oak. Like it hits for a second, disappears. I really like that. The oak is a component. Maybe that's what I'm saying. For me, the Mr. Whiskers oak is a broader component of the palate. It's on the finish. Muckety Muck is still the best ever, says Paint Doctor. I really like Muckety Muck. Muckety Muck hit me right. I need to get myself another bottle of that because like people don't know about Muckety Muck. They really don't. A lot of bourbon people too, because like people are like, it's Scotch, it's not gonna be good. It's a single grain Scotch. It's gonna be a lot like a fucking whiskey because it's not single malt. It's not 100% malt. Nate, you definitely need to try Muckety Muck for sure. No, he didn't buy Mike McAllister. He didn't buy Redbreast 21. He bought Redbreast 27. Not even the 21, the 27. But he's low class. Nate needs all the samples.
I need a hug.
This is Yolanda. She has dyed her hair. Here.
Unicorn!
She looks like a unicorn. She's all soggy from outside.
And washing my hair.
And washing her hair.
But also outside, because it's storming down rain.
We're respecting our farmers in the chat. Shout out to the farmers.
Real hug, though. And then I'll leave.
Hold on. I'll give you a big back popping hug.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah. I hope the mic picked that up. That was a good one. Her back popped, like, seriously.
Hi, guys.
Joe says, hurry up and get that wheat up. Yeah, the wheat Trevor's been trying to harvest has been giving him fits because of all the rain. Nate says, hi, boo-boo.
Hey, boo-boo. I'm real small.
She is small. You want to try this?
Sure.
She is trying the Rural Inn number 1.
I don't know. You don't like it.
Trevor's daughter loves unicorns.
I'm a unicorn!
Nate says a unicorn pissed on your hair, Yolanda. Winky face.
I have blue and pink and purple.
Mike says, hello.
I don't know how much you guys can see, but it's all the colors. Yes, see? All the colors.
Oh, I knocked something over. It was empty.
Is this the one I was supposed to be trying?
Which one did... which one...
Put it down right here.
Okay, yeah, that's the right one.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? What does it taste like?
Burnt candy corn.
It's got candy corn vibes for sure. The corn's really prominent on this. What about this one? Finish that up.
This one smells better.
Now she's going to try
it
this
smells
Old Scout.
pretty woody, which I don't necessarily like. No.
Don't like the oak?
No.
You think that one's better or this one's better?
That one by a very small margin because I hate both of them.
Oh, that's interesting. So you actually prefer the one that was oakier over the candy corn one?
Yes.
There you go, Keith. Yolanda prefers yours.
Order. I don't know what his order was, so I'm sure I've messed it up.
By the way, people were clamoring for the new modified Drink Pro website to be robust.
You know what? I was going to work on it today, and then you saw the shit show that was my day.
Maybe you can work on it this weekend.
Maybe. I also have $800 worth of plants to sell.
Okay, well, you can do both. I believe in you.
Uh-huh. Sure.
All right, bye, Yolanda.
Bye. I'll be back for snack. Whenever it is that you do snack.
Okay.
You forgot about snack, didn't you?
No, I did not. Okay, now this is the Rural Inn Barrel 2. The proof on this is 56.9. So we're talking about, I say proof, that's the percentage alcohol. Now, if any of these ever smelled like, Trevor said he's waiting on the Corn Daddy shirt.
Dude, I'll get it done.
Now, to me, this is the sweetest of the three. This thing smells straight up like cotton candy. This gives me real cotton candy vibes. Now, again, we've got the Mr. Whiskers and then two different picks from the Rural Inn. All are 5 years old. All are Old Scout. All are MGP sourced. All are bourbons. And all are between 56 and 57% alcohol. Yeah, I'm remembering why I bought these two store picks. Like I was talking about before with Bourbon Baller in the chat, the Old Scout picks, at least the new ones, that 11 year was something special because it had so much going on. It was so dense and complex, even though there wasn't a lot of peaks and valleys. It was just very compact. To me, these younger Old Scout, aka MGP, barrelings at 5 years old, you know, these are a little bit... they're kind of like stretched almost. That's how I would describe it. The flavors feel like they're not quite complete, so they don't have like a really nice story to tell. So they feel like they're stretched out, but there's a lot of good things going on in this. You know, if I taste this, right off the bat, I get black pepper, which is unique for a starter, caramel, vanilla, mid-palate. I get this oakiness, this slight bitterness, this black pepper shows up, a black walnut shows up, and then the finish is warming cinnamon sticks. It's warming cinnamon sticks, it's a little bit of honey. Beautiful finish. Again, the MGPs that hit me right, it hit me right because of the finish. The finish is where the MGPs shine. And over again, that's keeping to be the trend that continues to prove itself true. Be it the old ones that are just wonderfully complex and deep, even though they're not particularly, they don't have that really intense journey. They have a lot of complexity without a lot of intensity. That's what I was trying to say. That's the older MGP, but even the younger MGP, they don't have a lot of complexity or intensity, but the complexity that they do have is all in the finish, and it's really nice. Trevor says a lot of Old Scout picks are on the market right now. Is it just because of the big MGP boom, or why is everyone getting all this 5-year MGP stuff? Why not wait longer? Well, Trevor, a couple things are going on. Number one, MGP is starting to keep some of the older whiskey for themselves in their Remus brand. Number two, a lot of the older MGP stuff that got sold off, they just haven't been able to replenish their stock. There's been such a boom, and so many people started buying 10, 11, 12-year-old MGP that they just haven't been able to keep it in stock. Number three, a lot of people are paying premium prices to get the older MGP stuff. You know, an 11-year-old MGP product as an Old Scout, if you want to keep Old Scout at $50, you just can't do that anymore. You just can't. People like the Carters are buying MGP stock and making their bottles $200 a bottle, not $50. So I think there's a lot of different factors going into why it's hard to find the older MGP. I think the reason Old Scout 5-year picks became so popular is because Old Scout built a reputation on the backs of those 7, 10, 11-year-old picks. Everybody knew Old Scout, they knew what it was, and they liked it. So when they discontinued it, there began to be this buildup, this steam pushing against the pressure valve of demand. And so when the picks came back, everybody and their brother wanted to do an Old Scout pick, and that's what we have now, is a whole bunch of 5-year-old Old Scout picks that are basically 5-year-old MGP picks of varying degrees of quality. Now, I will say the 3 that I've got in front of me right now are all pretty good quality, but I know for a fact there are a lot of them out there that are not good quality. So make sure you try before you buy if you can at all. This Rural Inn Barrel 2. There's a nice pecan in the mid palate too. I will say, I think the Rural Inn 1 and 2, which is the 1 again, they're very different pours, but the thing that they both have that I like that's consistent is they're surprisingly sweet throughout. They have nuttiness and they have oakiness. They both have that. I would say the 1 has more citrus and the 2 has more nuttiness. And a little bit more fruit. There's a very slight peach quality in the early stages of that development. But the fact they have that sweetness throughout the whole pour, and then the cinnamon on the finish, I think they both have cinnamon on the finish, is a standout positive to me. The Old Scout, the Mr. Whiskers, the 5-year pick, it's much oakier. And it's got a little bit of bitterness on the finish that I don't love. But that was something I noticed consistently with a lot of the Mr. Whiskers stuff. For me, a lot of the Mr. Whiskers stuff is oakier than my preferred pick. And like I said before, usually I feel that way about Rural Inn picks, but that's why I like that they can do the try before you buy, because I tried these both, I liked these both, and said, I want to get those. And I'm glad I did. These are worth $50. Both of these are absolutely worth $50. But I know that there are picks out there that are not worth $50. So if you can try before you buy, or if you really trust the person's palate that you're buying from, they're still worth getting. Even though they're not going to be the glorious 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 7-year-olds of yesteryear. They're still worth getting. Oh, what's going on in the chat? Mike McAllister says, I should send Kyle a bourbon roulette set of samples and sneak that Old Scout in as a random one. I would be happy with that, Mike. If you wanted to put that together, I would be more than happy to try them out. That would be a blast. Mike Halliday put together the whiskey roulette for me, basically, and that was a lot of fun. And I learned something about the Van Winkle rye that I had been drinking otherwise. And then Trevor says that Gay's got 2 barrels of Old Scout and a ton left. It's been like a month. It doesn't sell great. Bourbon Baller says most will turn into Dusties. They will. And honestly, like, for a lot of places, they might be good pickups. If you, like I said, if you trust the people you're picking from. Trevor, I know you trust Gay's. I'd pick one up, brother. You know who picked them. You know you're going to like it. So, they're worth the $50, in my opinion. Trevor says that Bardstown is now having to blend with Dickel because they don't have any MGP left. Yeah, and that's going to cause problems for people. I will say, though, that Dickel can do good things with a finish. And Bardstown does a lot of finished stuff, which I think is part of why they're not too worried about using Dickel. If you put Dickel in a port cask, matter of fact, I would love to have some Dickel in a port cask. That would be wonderful. You get the super sweetness of port on top of that Dickel fruitiness. You might be able to downplay the minerality and bring out a really beautiful pour. Mike McAllister says, now that MGP bought Lux Row, you're going to see it in the Blood Oath next year. Yeah, absolutely, as you should. And, Blood Oath has always been kind of just okay for me, to be honest with you. But I'm optimistic that they're going to do something really cool now that they're going to have MGP in their distillate. As their distillate. In their bottles. Okay, let's move on to the pairing portion of the evening. I think the take-home message here for me is that there is still good Old Scout out there. Smooth Ambler, I want to try some of their own stuff. If you've got something from Smooth Ambler, hit me up. I'd love to try it. I'd love to give it a review. I will happily shout you out in the video. But for now, I'm going to move to doing snacks. And if Yolanda can hear me, she will come in here. Trev says Bardstown Diggler, you couldn't taste it, was great. That can't be something I'm supposed to eat. I'm not going to pair with the cardboard. It doesn't really chew very well. All right. So the first thing that I have to pair a whiskey with, and Yolanda set these up, by the way. Yolanda has taken it upon herself to bring me weird snacks that I have to find whiskeys to pair with. And the first one is called Fruze Balls. Peanut butter and jelly, 100% plant-powered. They're vegan energy balls, which sounds gross. Oh, they look gross too. No, why? Why? I mean, this is bad. I want something that will make this go away. Ugh. I mean, it's... So, what would make this better is some kind of stronger jelly component. It's supposed to be peanut butter and jelly flavored. The peanut butter is subtle and it's fine. But it needs more jelly. It needs something sweet. Ugh, that is bad. God, what do I have that's sweet enough to make that not bad? I mean, this is like a lazy pairing, but... Oh shit, where is it? Here it is. I didn't know it was over here. Bardstown, finished in Curacao. Mike McAllister asked if Cat's Eye would do it. I don't think so. Cat's Eye is a light whiskey. I think a light whiskey is just going to get blown out of the water by this. I need something with a lot of oomph, and this Bardstown has a lot of oomph. It is super, super, super orange Curacao. So, here's to ya. Yep. That did it. That's the trick, guys. Hey, that actually made it pretty good. Ha! That was pretty good. That turned a really nasty snack into something I'm not mad about eating. It's starting to roll away from me now. Yeah. You had that orange Curacao? And it's so sweet that this whole thing becomes like a peanut butter and jelly candy. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. It legitimately becomes like peanut butter and jelly candy. Wow. That's great. Cool. Well, I think that McAllister asked about the old Carter that was strong orange. That was batch 6 bourbon. It was the Dickel bourbon. I definitely think that would be able to stand up to this, but I'm not sure it's sweet enough. The orange curacao finish adds so much sugary, syrupy sweetness that it really brings something to it. I think instead of focusing on the orange component, I would focus on the sugar component. So something that was port finished, something that was PX sherry finished. You want a super duper sweet bourbon coming into that. The sweetness is what turns it into something palatable, not necessarily the orange. Although the orange I really liked, so another curacao finished product, for example, Parker's has a curacao finish that would probably pair really well with it. But it needs the love of a finish like that. So a whiskey I wouldn't normally drink on its own that beautifully pairs with that particular snack. I wonder if Yolanda can hear me. I'd really love some water. What is with this? Why am I getting this nonsense?
All I heard was if Yolanda can hear this.
I'd love some water. These are peanut butter and jelly snacks.
Do you have a water glass?
No.
Oh, so you started the stream without water. Congratulations.
Crispy peanut butter filled wafer sticks with raspberry fruit dip. Like, I just did a peanut butter and jelly thing. Why am I doing more peanut butter and jelly things?
Because it's a classic school kid.
Can you grab the Angel's Envy rye out of the top left cabinet while you're in there?
First.
Both, please.
You don't want both of them at the same time. Which do you want first?
Angel's Envy rye, please.
Okay.
Ugh. These are awful too. Why'd you buy these awful snacks? Again, this jelly is garbage. Yes. I mean, this is fine.
Why is this in a soy sauce container?
Because hard times. Alright.
I want to see how bad these balls are.
Don't spill them. They're easily spilled.
I'm eating balls on the internet.
Yep. I mean, these are just... They're so dry. You know what?
These aren't that bad. Those are better, though.
No. Those are better with the juice. So, these sticks are super dry. Bourbon Ball says Angel's Envy rye tastes like cotton candy. What's the theme of the snack? School kids' lunches? Yeah, it kind of seems like that. I don't know what it actually is supposed to be. You know what? So, I talked about the fact that the jelly finish is fine. That's for the Drink Pro only fans, Yolanda. That's right. Yeah. So, these snacks are the finish is where you get the jelly, and that's good. But the sticks are kind of dry and flavorless, and then you get peanut butter, and then you get jelly. So, I'm going to go with my Starlight Single Barrel. This is my go-to. This is the Holiday Edition Bourbon World 2020. This thing tastes like straight up gingerbread. And I think it's going to work really well with these sticks. Thank you, baby. Because it's going to give them some flavor right up front that then when it, evolves into peanut butter and evolves into jelly won't be interfering with it. Okay. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Now, typically, I eat the snack and then drink the whiskey. But for this, I'm going to do it in the opposite order.
Also, the sneaky bastard threw away the wasabi peas we had. So I can't throw those in there one day.
It doesn't really work. So the gingerbreadiness of that particular pour is a little too subtle and can't stand up to this very potent flavor.
I thought you would like it. There's raspberries.
Stay here.
I'm staying here. So how is everyone? Is everyone having a good day? La la la. Nate asks, do you have anything that is like juicy sweet? I don't think he can hear me. He doesn't listen well. Because he's not that far away.
Huh?
Nate asks, do you have anything that is like juicy sweet?
Nope. Okay, so we're going to go a different direction with it. Craigellachie 13.
How did you already eat half the package if you don't like them that much?
I don't know. So Craigellachie 13 is a Speyside 13-year-old Scotch. I know I typically do bourbon, but sometimes you need Scotch. A Redbreast cast strength could work, but I'm not going to open mine. I think the Craigellachie will work because for me, a lot of the Speysides give you those fruity notes. And they're sweeter than your average Scotch, and they're going to have a little bit of salinity, typically. And that salinity will, in my mind, work well with these sticks. So let's give it a try. Ooh, interesting. Oh, that's really interesting. Ooh. So, this is really incredible. So, first things first, they do a great job of what I wanted them to do, which is just kill the front of the palate. I don't taste the sticks at all. The first thing I taste is is Scotch, is whiskey. First thing I taste is whiskey. But then, when the peanuttiness shows up on these, it becomes oaky. So it becomes an oaky peanut, like a sweet, nutty, oaky combination. And the sweet gets stronger and stronger, but you never taste strawberry or raspberry. The berry notes are gone. And it just becomes this long, elongated, sweet, oaky nuttiness. I think this is a great combination, and one that I definitely did not expect.
Weird.
Yeah.
The raspberry's the best part.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It's so weird.
I'm still mad about the wasabi peas.
I didn't throw them away intentionally. I don't remember having wasabi peas. Oh, well, I've got one thing left. And then I will bid you adieu. This is not something Yolanda gave me. No. Here, you can take these two.
I'm just putting them in the kitchen. I ate a large amount of Mexican food.
My last item for the tasting portion of this evening. The snozberries taste like snozberries. Thank you, Nick. People are drinking Thomas S. More. Oh. Baklava. I took a bite out of it earlier. But this is legit baklava from a local Greek restaurant that knows how to make legit baklava. Look at that shit. Look at that. Yeah. Look at those layers. It's ooey gooey. It's dripping wet. Oh. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh. Oh. Oh, so I just like have no words. My goodness. Baklava is a guilty pleasure of mine. The sweet, flaky, it's just perfect. It's just perfect. Now, Nate says Woodford double oaked. That was not my instinct, but oh, that is good baklava. Holy crap. Next time you're in town, Trev, we'll get some of this baklava, because this is fucking good. And it's not that expensive. I mean, this is not a fancy high-end Greek place, but they know how to make some fucking baklava. That is exactly what I want. I know, it does look like that, Nate, but it's like a fraction of the price. It's good shit. I'm going to grab some of the Woodford Double Oak because I think that's an interesting idea. We'll give it a shot. So let's do it! Okay. Woodford Double Oaked. Nate says, or the Woodford Batch Proof. I'm not going to open that many bottles tonight. I've already opened 2. 2 bottles. 2 fresh cracks is enough. Okay. I don't know about this. Oh. That was the glass I was using for the space side. That ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. It'll just become too scotchy. You just really can't blend glasses for scotches and bourbons. You can get away with some glass blending. I don't love doing it. I love using a clean glass for each pour, but you certainly can't do it when you've been drinking any kind of scotch. It will stand out. It will change the pour. Okay. So, I'll try this baklava with this Woodford Batch Proof. Nate called it.
Oh, so you brought your own snack to the party.
Uh-huh.
That's why you had the baklava that you snuck home somehow. That I still don't understand how it arrived at our house.
Bourbon Baller got thrown off for calling one of the hosts a douche. That's funny. Can't be doing that, Bourbon Baller. All right, here we go. This is the pairing.
Don't call Kyle a douche. He might get thrown out here. Although sometimes he is a douche, so
Oh, it's so fucking good.
he doesn't care. You're right, Trevor. That's not nice.
Oh.
Are you finished? Should I leave you alone?
Oh, so good. Oh my god.
Shall I leave the room?
This baklava was $3.
I wouldn't know. You ate all of it.
This many.
You didn't share.
Oh, it's so good.
So much for your levels.
Yeah. Okay, Nate says the double oaked is super syrupy sweet. Mike says double baklava reserve. Mike's on a roll tonight. Yeah, like, and that's exactly right, Nate. The double oaked is super syrupy sweet, which, compared to the baklava, it doesn't taste sweet at all. It actually brings the oak. But because it's so sweet, it doesn't bring the bitterness So it's a not bitter, oaky addition to an already delicious, sugary, sweet dessert. It blends together perfectly. They operate in perfect harmony together, and you just feel like you're living in like sugar syrup, flaky butter crust oak heaven. I'm gonna do this.
So there's really nothing for me to share.
Oh. This is from that place we always get DoorDash from. And it's only $3, so we'll get one next time and you can have it.
Okay, well, I can't order for the actual food, so...
What do you mean you can't order the actual food?
It makes me sick. Well, I guess I can order the rice plate. You have baklava in your beard.
Of course I do. Saving it for later. Oh, boy. He was having an American Pie moment with the baklava. Thankfully, I wasn't, but man, that's good stuff. Holy crap.
I only came to cheers and then to leave you.
Cheers, baby. Cheers.
I'm running away now. Bye, everyone. Come on.
Yolanda's running away. We've done lots of tasty pours. I am going to finish out tonight's stream with a pour of that Craig Yellicky. Mostly because that Craig Yellicky was bought with give Yolanda the crumbs in your beard, says Nick Hopkins.
Ew. No. Are you kidding? I don't know what the fuck's growing in there.
She's clearly not a fan of that idea.
Ugh. I see so many dairy products just hang out.
I don't eat dairy anymore.
And that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, butter, cheese, pizza sauce.
I haven't had cheese
buffalo wings.
I haven't had cheese in a while.
It all gets stuck there, and it's...
I haven't had cheese in a coon's age.
You had cheese this week.
Do you know where that phrase comes from?
You've told me
People
before.
assume it's racist, but it actually isn't. A coon's age is because people used to think that raccoons lived like hundreds of years and embodied the spirits of their ancestors. So when you say, I haven't seen you in a coon's age, it means you haven't seen him in, like, forever.
Anyway.
Can people see this? The dog just...
You had cheese this week.
When?
When you ordered pizza.
Did I order pizza?
Yes.
I don't recall.
Bye.
Bye, Yolanda. Nate asked, did I get you that Craig bottle? You mean you sold for secondary price, Nate? No, Nate actually sold me this. I think he sold me a mostly full bottle at cost, which I'm okay with. It's a 13-year-old Craig Yellicky. But part of the reason I was going to drink it to finish the stream is because I bought this with Drink Pro money, which means I can only drink it on Drink Pro occasions, like this. Which is one of the reasons why I've talked with some people about this. You know, I have a company who is the recipient of all the Patreon money and any donations and any money that I'm given from anybody. It goes to my company, not to me as an individual, but to my company. And the reason that matters is because of a lot of the tax effects. So this bottle was purchased by the company, but part of what that means is I can't just drink it for jollies. I need to drink it for Drink Pro related material. It can be when patrons are over to visit. It can be when I'm on a live stream. Whenever. So I figured there's no time like the present. I didn't want to quite sign off yet. We're still under 2 hours in the stream. We've got 5 people sticking around, drinking with us. Maybe people will come in and out. Who knows? It's kind of been up and down all night, but I figured we'll share a pour and chat a little bit. Have a good time. Nate says, when do the samples go out? Speaking of Patreon. Well, I gave a deadline to opt in on the Patreon website. Let's go check that now. I don't honestly remember what the date was. I need to be better about that. Also, I lost a couple of patrons recently, which makes me sad, but I get it. Sometimes you can't stick around. So I'm hoping to replenish those with new people. So July 18th. So that's this weekend. July 18th is this Sunday. So this Sunday is the last chance for people to opt in to Patreon samples. Bourbon Baller said, what samples? If you're in the Patreon for 3 months or more, then you have access to samples. Although Bourbon Baller, you've been a good supporter, so I might help you out. So if you go to Patreon, there will be a post that is pinned to the top of the screen where you just comment and you opt in to get samples, and I will mail you samples. These samples will then be tasted blind on a Zoom call or a comparable video call service where we'll all chat together. Bird Boss, I just joined to support you. I appreciate that support, but I'm just letting you know this is a great benefit for being a supporter. So these samples will go out, and I'm going to mail them out probably on the 19th, honestly, because the deadline's the 18th. So Sunday I'll probably put together the sample packs, and we'll get those things mailed out. Should be a good time. Trev said, when's the quarterly merch and the bottle giveaway? The quarterly merch is going to go out with the samples. They'll be mailed together because I think everyone who is getting quarterly merch will also be getting samples. And the bottle giveaway will happen during the Patreon live stream this month. I have not scheduled that yet, but that's when the bottle giveaway will happen. As you can tell, if you're not a member of the Patreon, you should seriously consider joining because it is worth your money. You know, this is a great way to support me, like Bourbon Baller said, and like I said, I really appreciate all of the support. But I don't consider these handouts. I do consider these, value-added services that I'm selling. And I really hope people see it that way as well, and that when they join in, they will get some value from the things that I'm offering them. I also really appreciate it if they don't care about any of that and they just want to support me. I'm thrilled to get the support anyway, anyhow. But there are a lot of cool benefits out there for people. So, I said I wasn't going to talk about this during the stream, but we've only got 4 people right now on the stream. And not getting a bunch of questions in the chat. So I guess I'll talk about it. Let me take some water here. If you've been following us for a while, you know that Yolanda and I have been trying to buy a house, and it's been a struggle. The housing market is pretty insane right now. We've been fighting with very difficult competing offers. We've made several offers on homes. We actually got an offer accepted on a home previously, and the appraisal came in significantly, like 30 or 40% below what our offer was, and we weren't able to make it work with those sellers. Well, right now, we've got a home that we made an offer on that was accepted. We have talked through several different repairs that need to be made to the house, and I think there was agreement on 90 to 95% of them. And just today, we found out that the house appraised for a number that we believe means we can make this deal work. So I'm more confident than ever that we actually will be in a new house come September. So I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to make any promises I can't keep. But I'm very optimistic. I'm more optimistic than I've been throughout this whole process. So, I think it'll be a blast. And when I get a new space, whether it's this house or a different house, when I get a new space, there will be a dedicated Drink Pro room in that house for making these videos, for drinking with people. It's going to be a really cool space. You guys will be able to see all of that content. I'll definitely post the creation of the room, the development of the room on the Patreon, speaking of Patreon. So there's going to be a really cool way for you to see all of the stuff, all of the creation, and all of the development of this space. Patreon.com/thedrinkpro. You'll see that stuff for only the $3 a month level, but there's a lot of great benefits above that, as everyone in the chat has mentioned. Nate says, sounds like I'm going to need to come drink and puke in your bathroom. Yeah, Nate had a rough time when he first came in. Bird Box says, sweet. Yeah, man, I am super excited about this. Like, it's going to be a really cool experience because I get to make the room exactly how I want it. So it's going to be wired for sound. It's going to have so many cool things. First off, I'm going to get it soundproof, not soundproofed, sound treatment. It's going to be audio treated so that my recordings will sound exactly the way I want them to sound. It's going to have a really nice aesthetic, so it's going to feel like a bourbon bar. It's going to have custom lighting that I'm going to build into it. It's going to have a bar that I'm going to build into it. Now, these are all obviously plans that are going to take a while to develop, but I am confident that I'll get this all done, and it will be a beautiful space for videos and for just drinking in and enjoying in. People can come drink like professionals with me in this space. It'll be a great time. It is a tough journey, Bourbon Baller. You're totally right. It is difficult, it is expensive, and it is frustrating, but I'm so excited about the possibilities. And, because we had this really hard situation before where we thought we had bought a house and it fell through, I've been really kind of not letting myself get excited. But after this appraisal came in, I'm starting to finally let myself get excited about this new house. And I'm just coming up with all these ideas of what I want to do, what I want to make this whiskey room. It's going to be something special. It's going to be a fun place. It's going to be my personality, which will be unique as always. But it's going to be a good time. Trev says, my birthday's in September. We can celebrate that and you getting a new house. I'd be totally down for that. We can make that work. But, it's one of those things where I've been renting for a long time. And I'm sick of moving every year. This is the first house I've lived in for more than a year for the last 6 years. So I'm super sick of moving. I'm super sick of finding problems and then not being able to fix them. I consider myself a pretty handy person. I worked with my grandpa for several years doing handyman work. I've done everything from woodwork, painting, concrete, roof work, fencing, just anything you can imagine. I've at least dabbled in it. And so I feel very competent and able to fix almost anything in a home. And feeling like it didn't make sense for me to do those fixes in my own home is very frustrating. So buying a property and being able to say like, oh yeah, I see this problem, I'm going to go fix it, is just very refreshing. I'm looking forward to that. Even though I know there will be a lot of frustration, it's going to be nice to be able to get things just the way I want them and not have to worry about changing them back for some random landlord. That is perhaps what I'm most excited about, if I'm being honest. Cheers. So if you have any questions for me, throw them in the chat. If you have any comments for me, throw them in the chat. If you want to tell me to go fuck myself, put it in the chat. Whatever you want to say to me, put it in the chat. There's, I think a lot of the whiskey channels, unfortunately, are not very responsive to their viewers and to their fans. And I get why. Once you reach a certain size, it's very difficult to be so responsive. But I intend to, as long as I'm able to, be very responsive to people in the chat. I want to always be here chatting with you guys, engaging with you. I mean, until this chat is moving like this, I'm always going to be chatting to individual comments and responding to things that are questions and just being engaged. And I don't like the channels that basically require you to pay super chats to talk to me. I mean, once I get to 1,000, if I can get super chats, I would love to get super chats. I'd love to receive money for super chats. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to ignore the people who can't afford super chats. I get it. If you can't afford it, you can't do it. Nate wants me to come mow his lawn. That's not going to happen, Nate. Mike says, sometimes you got to have those bad things happen because the payoff in the end is worth it. I can definitely feel that. I think you're totally right, Mike. Like that, I'm feeling that right now. That build up is really hitting good for me. Bourbon Baller says, I was here when you were at 150 subs, and I appreciate that for sure, Bourbon Baller. I know. I think everybody, honestly, that's in the chat right now or that's watching right now has been with me from an early point. And that means the world to me. Like, having people come in early, stick around, be a part of this growth. I am not cowtailing to any other fucking channels. No YouTube channels, no whiskey distributors, no distillers, nobody. I am doing this wholly on just word of mouth, people liking the content, and people wanting to hear what I have to say. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of that because it would be much easier for me to get to 1,000 subs by kissing people's asses, and I'm not doing that. I'm just not willing to do it. I'm going to be me. I'm going to tell you what I think. We're going to have fun, and that's what it's going to be. Mike McAllister said we need to have a meetup type thing. We do need to have a meetup type thing for sure. I know Mike just built a bar in his house. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Trevor pointed out, right, a lot of those other channels, their chat doesn't really mean anything because I'm not going to pay to talk to somebody. And I like to believe that when you're with these chats, here with me, the Drink Pro, you're not paying to talk to somebody. You get to talk to somebody for free. All right. I got time for one more question. Somebody give me a question, I'll answer it, or I'll rant about it. Then I'm getting out of here. I got to work in the morning. It's 10:30. I've been drinking since 8:30. Pretty hard, I might add. So, give me one and then we're done here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's all been boys, let's be honest. I tried to shout out the ladies, but no women were in the chat, unfortunately. So give me a question, and I'll give you an answer. We'll call it a night. I don't know how people stream for like 4 or 5 hours. I mean, I get it. If I drank slower, I could stream for longer. But I enjoy drinking fast, and it's a problem. It makes these difficult to do. Nate says, what's a bottle you want to celebrate the home purchase? That is a good question. That is a very good question, Nate. I may have to go with the Redbreast 27. That's a real sweet one in my mind. I could probably get another George T. Stagg 2019 for the cheap because people don't like it, but I really liked it. So maybe a George T. Stagg 2019. I mean, there's a couple other things I would love to have. A William LaRue Weller, some sort of Pappy 15, but those are going to be outlandishly expensive. I think things I could realistically buy: Redbreast 27, GTS 2019, things like that. Mike McAllister says, is the Earth round? Probably. I don't know. That's a tough question, Nate. I think one of those two probably has to fit the bill. If I had my druthers, I'd probably buy like a 2019 William LaRue Weller, but I think that's going to be like over $1,000. I can't drop that kind of coin. All right, guys. Well, this has been the Craig Gallacky. It's a solid space side. It's got all the great notes of a space side. I'll do a review of it another time when we can talk about some of these notes in it. I think it's a really solid pour, though. I'm going to get out of here. You all keep drinking like professionals. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this good feeling going. Get your friends to like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. The support means the world to me. It really does. It's the reason I can keep making this show. Keep doing this channel. Because of your support, I'm going to be getting a new camera soon. That will go along with the Bourbon Room. And it will be a great way to show you new content and high quality. So thank you guys so much. Keep drinking like professionals. Cheers.